Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jeremy here with the Guillette Group. In this video, we're going to talk about the quiet season. That's what we're in right now in the high country, but we're going to talk specifically about what strategies you can take and why buyers win in the winter in the high country. So what I want to talk about is in the wintertime, activity from a real estate perspective really slows down. We saw that in November. I expect we're going to see it in December as well. Those stats have yet to be released. I'm assuming they're typically out by mid the following month. So January in this case, I assume it's just due to the holidays that the data hasn't been released. But the point being, we know and we see it, it's seasonal. We see it every year. Activity slows down. But that is the time when the savvy second home buyer begins to start making moves. What I try to do, or really what I try not to do, is to kill everybody with stats. My goal here is to look at the market, look at the data. We look at it every week, in fact, and we look for patterns, we look for trends, and we look for opportunities. So in the wintertime, we see this again not almost every single year. Activity drops dramatically. So what does that mean? Well, we have less closes, which means we have less buyers. When we have less buyers, what does that mean? We have less competition. When we have less competition, what does that create? A little more opportunity. So when we see the closes that are occurring, it's very intentional. And I'll jokingly say, because we see this in Southwest Florida as well, November doesn't scream crash or boom, it whispers opportunity. And that's exactly what we saw again this year. And you've probably seen where other agents and realtors will go through this crazy deep dive. Not me. No charts, no data. Okay, fine. Just one. I'll have my editor put it up on the screen here. But at the end of the day, it's really about interpretation and what you can do strategically, which is what we're going to talk about now. All right, so let's talk about the first strategic play. And that's simply that winter tends to weed out the more casual buyers. And what do I mean by that? Well, at the end of the day, you'll see everyone's up for the weekends. Traditionally, they're looking to ski, but the Airbnb rates are going up. Occupancy rates are higher, especially on holidays. Anytime where there's an extended period of time off, there's more people actually there to enjoy the mountains and the winter recreation. So it drives out some of the more casual, leisurely people that are there just to either find a deal and then maybe potentially explore and look around. And you'll see when we look at our inventory really starts to drop in the wintertime. We see it especially in November, December, and then it stays off. Typically, we start seeing things return to market around March. But what does that mean for the sellers that remain? One, they could be realistic. Two, they could be flexible. Three, and probably most importantly, they might be motivated to sell based on their own situation. And I want to add a fourth one is really that they might be open to a little creative financing or flexible terms. So this is where an opportunity can really create leverage as a buyer. It's not always price. It's largely price in almost every transaction, but it's not only price. The other terms come into play. It could be due diligence. It could be inspection terms. It could be flexibility. There's a lot that can go into it, and we can ask more questions because the market doesn't move quite as fast traditionally in the wintertime. The second strategic play that I would talk about is seeing a home in its hardest season. That's an advantage that many buyers, frankly, miss out in the high country. And what does that mean? Well, it could be winter sun angles. It could be direction of the wind. It could be how efficient is the heating. It could be access to the driveway. What kind of snow mitigation or removal is in place? All of those factor in. One thing I can tell you, and I would say rest assured, if you see a home in the winter and it works, it will feel amazing in July. The third strategic play is frankly just getting out and being able to see homes and start your search before the actual peak of season. And it's not just the peak of season, it's also the emotional season, because that's when more people move into the market and start looking at properties and create more competition. You might see multiple offers in that scenario as an example. And I'm not saying there is a perfect time to buy a home or start your search, but I can tell you we do see these patterns pretty consistently. In the spring and summer, we see more inventory hit the market. That drives more competition because more buyers move in. It can be a little more aggressive in those time periods. And we see the same thing, oddly, in Southwest Florida, but it's the inverse. We see that during snowbird season in the winter time. But then as fall comes around, we see a couple things happen. The pressure remains on. It's leaf season up in the mountains. So It doesn't change a whole lot, but with winter time, there is an advantage. Time seems to slow down. The competitive pressure eases a little bit. There's less people. And quite honestly, many of these homes are in rental programs. It's a huge opportunity for you to almost go up and test drive the properties or the communities that you are thinking about buying into. And I don't think this is a secret, but I do think it's a strategic opportunity. It is often the best time to buy before everybody else also thinks it's a good idea. Which reminds me, we're here to help. So if you want to have a conversation about what you're looking for, we have a tool we use called the wish list, which will help narrow down to areas, properties, communities, you name it. And we can also create custom property searches with alerts that will identify and send to you properties that match the criteria you're looking for. If that sounds like something you want to take advantage of, reach out to me anytime. Now, one more thing. Who is this market perfect for? It's for you. It's the person that can be flexible, that's not in a rush, that is thinking long term, that wants to add mountains to their life and not complication. So there is a great opportunity to buy when things slow down. Yes, there's also more inventory coming to the market, most likely in the springtime. That'll bring more competition. Only you can decide what is right for you. If you start now and you don't find the perfect property, that's okay. One will come to market. But if you do, and you get an advantage before the buyer pool also arrives, that could be a real opportunity and win for you. So if you are dreaming or beginning to plan or even just beginning to think about buying a property, and it doesn't matter the time frame, I will say this, there isn't a rush, but there's an advantage to starting early. If you want to have that conversation, I'm Jeremy, again with the Guillette Group. My information's on the screen. Call me anytime. I look forward to speaking with you real soon.